Hi there, welcome to In Your Corner, the show about disability and injury law. I'm John Scholes along with Sivan Tumarkin. We are here each week and telling you about injury law and disability, things you need to know. This is a very broad subject, and unfortunately, I mean this in the nicest terms, but there's a lot of ignorance when it comes to this topic. That's why we're here doing this show each week. Sivan, you want to reach out anytime. It's simple, 1-833-IN-YOUR-CORNER or inyourcorner.ca. While you're at that website, there is a place for you to find out where you can catch our weekly radio show, which we've been doing for probably about 6 years now.
At least.
At least 6 years.
Yes,
so
right.
We've got a lot of content on there for you to follow. We'll get to some emails, by the way, from the radio show and some other goodies throughout the show. We are looking out for the little guy here on this show. Savannah, I know you wanted to talk about basically your background and what it is you do with the firm as well, right?
That's right. So I am a disability lawyer, an injury and disability lawyer. And my background is that of a defense lawyer. I used to work initially as an insurance defense lawyer, working for insurance companies and protecting them. And then when Lior and I opened the firm a long time ago, I switched sides and decided that I wanted to represent individuals who were injured through someone else's negligence, get compensation for them, as well as fight insurance companies when they have denied legitimate claims, you know, being other people's corners and make sure that we take the fight to the insurance company to make sure that insurance companies don't get away with murder, essentially, you know, with keeping other people's money.
It's an interesting angle, the fact that you worked for insurance companies before, so you've kind of been behind the curtain and see how it works on both sides, right?
You know what? It was enlightening, especially when you turn to the other side. And, you know, having worked for insurance companies, you sort of get an idea on how they think, why it is that they do what they do, and it gives you an edge, right? When I'm representing someone, I know exactly what I need to do to put pressure, to put the squeeze on the insurance company to make sure that they pony up the money that my client is owed by law.
You know, a little later on the show, we're going to be giving you the top 5 reasons insurers give for denying claims. Maybe you've been through this. We'll expand on that in just a little bit. Email, by the way, is help@inyourcorner.ca. Anytime you want to drop an email to Sivan or the rest of his team, it will be answered promptly. But I know you wanted to get to a bit of a, you know, a bit of a week that was, or success story you've had in the firm recently. What do you got for me?
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's very difficult to choose because we've been able to help so many individuals out there, specifically people who are dealing with long-term disability claims. And one case specifically comes to mind, this young lady who had a high-paying position and something happened to her. Nobody really knows what. It was an illness, a brain illness, and she started losing focus and concentration. And at some point it got so bad that she couldn't take care of herself. She had to move in with her mother, who was taking care of her. And she applied for long-term disability. She had coverage through work. And the insurance company said, no, you don't qualify. We don't think you have enough medical support. And this is despite the fact that she had seen so many neurologists across the province who had said that she is disabled from working. They couldn't pinpoint exactly what the issue was, but they said she's disabled. Insurance company says, we're not paying you a dime. We got involved, and John, within months, we got into a room with the insurance company at a mediation and resolved the claim for mid-6 figures.
Wow. And
And that's after she was denied. She was told you are owed nothing. And again, what is the lesson from that? The lesson is that people actually have a lot more power than they think that they do. There is this perception out there that insurance companies want you to believe that they are these huge, humongous companies. You can't fight them. You can't
David and Goliath.
David and Goliath. And, you know, what do I always say? Who won that battle with David and Goliath?
Right.
So don't assume that you don't have any power. You have a lot more power than you think you do. You just have to stand your ground, and you have to get the right legal advice to make sure that you understand what your options are and how you can recover the money, again, that is owed to you, by law.
Again, 1-833-IN-YOUR-CORNER. Anytime you want to reach out, you can do that as well. This particular case, you mentioned brain injury. Would that have been a contributing factor why the insurance company denied it? Because it doesn't show up on an X-ray or an MRI. It's, you know, there's no bruise. I mean, it's internal possibly. Maybe that's why they wouldn't accept it.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the reasons. The other reason is that they're playing a numbers game.
Right.
They're assuming that out of all the people out there who have legitimate claims, if we can deny X amount of these people and only a fraction of them challenge us, imagine how much money is left in the insurance company's pocket. Right. But we see this with people who suffer from depression, from PTSD, from anxiety. And, you know, it's not as difficult as people think. Insurance companies are not in the business of fighting these claims. As soon as we stand up for our clients' rights, as soon as we take the fight to the insurance company, again, I'm talking about the legitimate claims, people who have doctors who are telling them they are disabled from working. Insurance companies invariably come to the table to try and negotiate a resolution with us. It happens in almost every case.
Because it can become costly for them and they don't
Very
want
costly.
that, right?
Yeah, I mean, remember, once we start a legal claim against them, they are then obligated to have a defense lawyer assigned to the case. And what does that mean? It means they're starting to bleed money in defending the case. They're not in the business of bleeding money, John. They're in the business of making money. They make money by getting premiums and then denying claims.
Hanging on to it.
And assuming that most people out there will not challenge them.
Email again, help@inyourcorner.ca. I'll get to one now, Sivan, you can expand on this. Jeff writes in, says, my wife suffers from depression and anxiety and has been seeing a psychologist for over a year. She applied for long-term disability and we just received a denial from the insurance company despite her doctors saying that she can't work. She's 46 years old and worked as an account executive at a large ad company. Is there anything we can do?
Yes, 100%. So the first thing that I would say to Jeff is it's a good thing that he contacted us, because the last thing you want to do is ignore the timelines that you have to start a claim.
Right.
Remember, you have 2 years from the date you were first denied a claim, but don't wait that long. What is the point of waiting that long? As soon as you are told that you are going to be denied, as soon as you get that letter of denial, or if you are on benefits and you get a letter or a call or an email saying you're going to be cut off benefits, you should immediately seek legal help. Immediately give us a call. Remember, John, it costs nothing to talk to us. We will give you this legal advice for free. We'll give you these options. Now, in Jeff's wife's case, she's dealing from psychological issues, and that's very, very common. And unfortunately, insurance companies often ignore these kinds of illnesses, and they end up just denying these claims. And Jeff, here are the options. The options are do absolutely nothing or take action. Let us take action on her behalf. One thing that I want people to understand is that once we get involved, you are no longer dealing with the insurance company. We are the ones dealing with the insurer. The adjuster can't call you. The adjuster can't write to you.
Nice.
They have to go through us. And we actually take the fight to them. And how do we do that? We go to our clients' doctors, we get the necessary reports, and we put in together the right strategy, legal strategy, to force the insurance company to come to the table and resolve the case.
Well, I mean, just the fact that the phone calls will stop and aggravating you is a big proponent for you healing off the top, right?
Well, think about it. You're disabled, John. I mean, do you really need the insurance company to whisper in your ear that you have no case, that you're not really as disabled, that you are they're not really telling you that you're trying to get something for nothing, but it's enough for them to simply deny your claim or act in a way that is bullish towards you. It's not fair. It's not fair, and this is what we do for a living. We like I said, we take the fight to them. We make sure that we put them on the defensive. Again,
inyourcorner.ca. You want to find out where you can catch the radio show and more information on that website, of course. The fact that she was denied, would it be fair comment to say very shortly down the pike will be coming a chance for her to appeal this decision? And we know where that leads, right?
Yes, we do. Every denial that you get for a long-term disability claim, that same letter that tells you that you don't qualify for long-term disability comes with a caveat at the end of the letter saying you can appeal.
To who?
To who? Exactly, that's the point. And many people fall into that trap. You think to yourself, okay, well, I'll try and convince the insurance company. Perhaps, there is a chance that they'll reverse themselves.
Good luck with that.
When you appeal that decision, when you take the insurance company up on that offer, you are essentially re-asking the same insurance company who denied you in the first place to reconsider their decision. What is their incentive? Their incentive to reverse their position. You're essentially asking the same people who cut you off in the first place or denied you to change decision, to change course.
Will they just do it once? Will they keep doing it? How many
They will
times
keep doing it, yeah. You can appeal once, twice, and here's the problem. The longer you appeal, the longer you go from that date you were first denied, the more risk there is that you could potentially get beyond that 2-year limitation period.
So the first denial, the clock starts ticking. When you appeal, it does not reset the clock.
It does not reset the clock. But these appeals are designed to frustrate you.
Right.
Insurance companies will argue that that's not the case, but the reality is the vast majority of people who have appealed these decisions that I've come across, that my colleagues have come across, these appeals have gone nowhere, have only frustrated the person and their family, and then when they come to us, they're actually surprised how quickly we can resolve these claims when they've tried to appeal once, twice, 3 times to no avail.
We'll take a short break. We'll get deeper into the appeals process, plus the top 5 reasons insurance companies give when denying a claim. That is all coming up. 1-833-IN-YOUR-CORNER and inyourcorner.ca. More In Your Corner is on the way. Stick around.
Insurance companies deny long-term disability claims all the time. They give lots of excuses. Don't give up. I've seen it all. They've ignored your doctors, they've ignored you. You're angry and you're frustrated. But there's hope. We resolve disability claims all the time. We force insurers to pay what they owe. we're in your corner.
Call Sivan and his team, 1-833-IN-YOUR-CORNER, or go to inyourcorner.ca.
You've been denied long-term disability. You think you're powerless, but you have a lot more power than you think. I'll tell you a secret. It's a numbers game for the insurance company. They're betting on you walking away from money that they owe you. Don't make that mistake. We resolve disability claims all the time. We force insurers to pay what they owe. We're in your corner.
Call Sivan and his team, 1-833-IN-YOUR-CORNER, or go to inyourcorner.ca. Hey, welcome back to In Your Corner. Anytime you want to reach out, 1-833-IN-YOUR-CORNER is the phone number you want to use. inyourcorner.ca is the website. I'm John Scholes, Sivan Tumarkin from the law firm. We are talking about injury law, disability law. We are looking out for the little guy, and I mean that from not the literal sense, but as far as, you know, a person being under the scrutiny of an insurance company if it all comes down. Wanted to get into this, and I mentioned this in the first segment, so we'll get to it now. The top 5 reasons insurers give for denying claims. You had to whittle this down to 5, because I'm sure it could have been 55, but we don't have enough time for it. Maybe we'll pick up another 5 on another show. But I want to start going through these. Sivan, I know you want to comment on each one. Number 1, you're not what they call totally disabled, using quotation signs there, right?
Yeah, using quotations. And just to correct you, John, I know you said 5 reasons. I call these the 5 excuses for why insurance companies give. And, you know, for people who are on the receiving end, that's what it feels like. Excuses for why they're not getting paid what they should be paid. Yeah, not being totally disabled. So people have this misconception out there that they have to be paralyzed or have to be like in a coma, exactly, to qualify for long-term disability. No, far from it. Maybe the insurance company wants you to believe that, but that's not the case. Essentially what it boils down to is, can you do your job? Can you do the substantial aspects of your job? If you can't, and if your doctors are saying that you can't, then you qualify. It's that simple. It's not an overly complicated analysis. When insurance companies tell you that you are not totally disabled, despite your doctor saying that you are, that you're not able to do your job, the insurance company is wrong and you have recourse. Again,
1-833-IN-YOUR-CORNER. If you want more information anytime, call Sivan, get a member of his team. The top 5 excuses insurers give for denying claims. Number 2 is insufficient medical documents supporting your disability. Happens all the time.
I love that. What does that mean, insufficient documents? Let's say you have a family doctor. Let's say you have a psychologist, a psychiatrist, a surgeon, a neurologist, all saying this person is unable to work because of, here are the reasons why. And yet the insurance company, the adjuster, sends you a letter or an email or calls you and says, insufficient documentation. I see this all the time. John, you don't need a mountain of paperwork saying you are disabled. You simply need a doctor. And sometimes it's not even a doctor. Sometimes it's a psychotherapist. There's a variety of treating providers that can help here, chiropractors, etc. And they are saying and explaining in detail why it is that you are disabled. And as long as that explanation makes sense and the explanation is rooted in their expertise, in other words, I'm not talking about a napkin, right, where the doctor says on a napkin, oh, unable to work. No, no, it has to be more substantial.
Right.
Insurance companies should listen to what your doctors are saying. They should listen to what your body's telling you.
So what do the doctors do? You must have countless occasions where the doctor's like, man, this is detailed. What else do these people want?
That's right. I have doctors actually calling me, themselves in distress, telling me that the insurance company is simply ignoring what they're saying. I have psychologists calling me, telling me that they have written to the adjusters, telling the adjusters that they're out of their minds for denying their patients long-term disability claims. And what I tell them is very simple. Show me the medical documents. Show me your reports. Show me the denial letter. I will tell your patient within minutes if they are entitled to a long-term disability claim or coverage. If I tell you that you have a case, you can bank on it. You have a case. I'm not going to take your case on. My firm will not take your case on unless we think we can succeed for you. And that's rooted in my background, having worked for insurance companies in the past. I'm not interested in advancing illegitimate claims. I'm not interested in my group having a reputation of advancing fraudulent claims.
For sure.
But many people out there have legitimate claims that are denied each and every day. And people need to understand that they have rights and they can stand up for their rights. And we will stand up for their rights.
InYourCorner.ca is the website. Help@InYourCorner.ca to email. We were talking about the top 5 excuses and or reasons that insurers give for denying claims. Number 3 is there's no formal diagnosis for your disability. What does that even mean?
So you remember at the beginning of the show, I mentioned this lady who had a brain issue, an illness. She started having focus issues, memory issues, and all that. Well, her neurologists were not able to diagnose the issue. They didn't understand what was wrong with her. And remember, we have limitations with medical science. Judges understand this. Juries understand this. Everyone understands that medicine is not perfect. But if the doctors are saying that you have an impairment, that you have a disability that's preventing you from working, you have a case for long-term disability, assuming you have coverage for it. The insurance company can't come to you and say, because there is no diagnosis, because there is no label, a name, therefore, we are excluding you from coverage. They can't do that. Unfortunately, they do this quite a lot, and people believe them, and people walk away from money that is rightfully owed to them.
Some viewers are probably thinking, okay, I have documentation from my team of doctors or my doctor, but they're thinking, how much credence does that have? Does your doctor not have the trump card when it comes to this sort of thing, because they're your doctor?
They do.
Right.
You said trump card, and for insurance companies, I said it's a numbers game. It's like a poker game, really. It's all about the cards that we have, they have, when we're dealing with these kinds of claims. And I put a lot of emphasis on what the treating doctors, treating practitioners who are treating my client, who've been treating my clients for years, are saying. If the insurance company hires a doctor, and they have a roster of doctors that they go to challenge these kinds of claims, but my client has a family doctor or a neurologist or a psychologist or whoever else is treating them, as between the two people, the hired gun from the insurance company and the treating physicians, who do you think a judge is going to believe?
Yeah.
And that's what you need to understand. If your doctors are backing you up and are saying that you are disabled, a judge will believe them. That's almost a certainty. Can't give you 100%, but I can tell you in my experience, if your doctors are supporting you, you have the trump card.
We'll keep it going. Top 5 excuses you get denied by your insurance company. You can do another job is number 4.
Yes. I love that. They will often tell you that closer to the 2-year mark. So let's back up for a second.
Okay.
Long-term disability, basics. To qualify for long-term disability, you have to show that you are unable to do your own job for the first 2 years.
Own occupation test.
Own occupation test, yeah. So, if you're an engineer and you want to qualify for long-term disability, for the first 2 years of coverage, the test that you have to meet is, are you disabled from doing your own occupation, your own job? Once you get beyond the 2 years, the test changes for long-term disability. You now have to show that you can't do any job for which you are suited for by training, education, or experience. So around that 2-year mark is when the insurance company will try and argue, we think you can do other types of jobs. But let me give you an example, John. Let's say that you have anxiety and depression and maybe PTSD or whatever other psychological elements you may have. If you're unable to get out of bed and you're an engineer, can you really get out of bed and work at Starbucks or Tim Hortons or Walmart or what? You can't. But insurance company will use that excuse that you can do something else, even though you know you can't, even though your doctors know you can't and have said that you can't. And that's where we end up having a lot of people come to us. And again, we challenge the insurance company, we get them to the table, and we get our clients what they deserve, because they don't deserve to be denied.
We've often used the scenario on the radio show. By the way, you want to go to InYourCorner.ca to find out where you can catch that show. We've often used the scenario of a surgeon who uses their hands and they've had an accident, be it a car accident or some other tragic event. They can no longer use their hands. How does it work in that case?
Well, imagine if you are a surgeon and imagine you had a hand injury and you now can't operate. So for the first 2 years of disability, of long-term disability, you have to show that you can't operate, which makes sense. But when the 2-year mark hits, the question then becomes, can you do anything else? Can you work in any other job for which you're suited for? Well, you're suited potentially to teach surgery, where you don't have to use your hands to do surgery. You can teach. Well, at that point, you don't qualify for LTD anymore. But again, a lot of people simply buy into the insurance company telling them that they can do another job when they know that they can't, but they think they cannot challenge the insurer. You can challenge the insurer, and you should challenge the insurer.
More questions, comments, 1-833 In Your Corner is the phone number. Help at inyourcorner.ca to shoot us an email anytime. We'll get to it on future shows as well. Dealing with the top 5 excuses / reasons they give for denying your claims. We're talking about your insurance company. 5th and final one, this one sticks in your craw, and sometimes you got to be a good lawyer like yourself to navigate around this one. And it makes sense. You don't qualify because you have a pre-existing condition. They must lob this across the plate all the time.
All the time. All the time. And you hear about this because of the discussions, in the States with Medicare and all that kind of stuff. So here's the thing. You'll get denied for a whole slew of reasons, okay? Insurance companies literally have a menu of excuses that they use to deny claims, and pre-existing conditions are one of those excuses. And sometimes you're right. Sometimes you have a pre-existing condition, and on the basis of that, they're entitled to deny your claim.
Sure.
But sometimes that's wrong. I'll give you an example. We had a client that had ulcers on his feet, and he was a diabetic as well before he got the ulcers. And eventually he had his feet amputated, so he can't work. Okay, very, very severe. But the insurance company argued that the pre-existing condition here was the diabetes.
Right.
But here's the thing. Any endocrinologist will tell you that diabetes, technically, doesn't actually cause ulcers. They create the environment where ulcers can develop. You can have somebody that have diabetes. My father has diabetes. He's not disabled from working. So diabetes in itself is not a pre-existing condition that would bar you from making a claim. They're trying to tie the diabetes to the ulcers, to the amputation. So they're making that link. They're not entitled to make that link.
Wow.
And we challenge them on that. And again, this is something that people need to understand. We can challenge insurance company denials. Don't think that they are all powerful, these insurance companies. They are not. That's the perception that they want you to believe. They're not. I'm telling you as somebody who used to work for them. They are interested in resolving cases. They're not interested in fighting them.
We touched on it in the first segment of the show, and that is the problem with the appeals process. We will get to that after a short break. In the meantime, write this down, 1-833 In Your Corner. That is the contact information, and inyourcorner.ca as well. Lots more. In Your Corner is on the way. Stick around.
You've been denied long-term disability. You think you're powerless, but you have a lot more power than you think. I'll tell you a secret. It's a numbers game for the insurance company. They're betting on you walking away from money that they owe you. Don't make that mistake. We resolve disability claims all the time. We force insurers to pay what they owe. We're in your corner.
Call Sivan and his team, 1-833 In Your Corner, or go to inyourcorner.ca.
Insurance companies deny long-term disability claims all the time. They give lots of excuses. Don't give up. I've seen it all. They've ignored your doctors, they've ignored you. You're angry and you're frustrated. But there's hope. We resolve disability claims all the time. We force insurers to pay what they owe. We're in your corner.
Call Sivan and his team, 1-833 In Your Corner, or go to inyourcorner.ca. And welcome back to In Your Corner, where we talk about disability and injury law. John Scholes, Sivan Tumarkin here. We're answering your questions, taking your phone calls off the show hours. Of course, you want to call in 1-833 In Your Corner. When we're not here doing this show, the team back at your office will be answering those calls. Email us help at inyourcorner.ca as well. We talked about before the break dealing with the appeals process. Another resource is mydisabilityquestions.com. You can go there anytime, ask your questions. Chances are your question might have already been asked and answered in depth, so you can do that. Either scroll through and look for something that tickles your fancy in that regard, or you can leave your question there, and I know your team will get to it. I want to read one out here to you, Sivan, and have you comment on this. And it has to deal with the appeal process. When people are denied long-term disability, they're often invited to appeal, as we mentioned. Should they appeal? And if they don't, if they do, is there an alternative?
Do not appeal these denials. I'm going to get a lot of flack from insurance companies for saying this, but I am telling you from my experience and from the experience of so many lawyers that do this kind of work across the country, not just in Ontario, these appeals are useless. They are useless. And I have conversations with adjusters who work for insurance companies. Actually, let me back up for a second. I've had a couple of weeks ago an adjuster from an insurance company who herself tried to go on long-term disability, who got denied, who then appealed that denial to her own insurance company and got denied again. So the adjuster herself who deals with these kinds of claims. What is the alternative? The alternative is to do something that is a lot easier, really, to get the insurance company to the table, which is to start a legal claim. Remember, appeals are internal processes within the insurance company.
Sure.
There's no one overseeing them. You can try and go to the ombudsperson, you can try and go to the manager, you're not going to get anywhere. Now, I'm not going to say that appeals never work, because yeah, sometimes they work in extreme circumstances, but the vast majority of situations that I have seen, people appeal, get denied. A few months pass by, they appeal again, get denied. By the time they come to me, I tell them, you know what, had I started a claim when you first got denied, we would have resolved your case already.
Right.
And that's the reality.
Yeah.
We can take the process, we can take the control outside, out of the insurance company's hands, put it in the legal process, thereby putting pressure on the insurance company. It's all about strategy, it's all about pressure, creating exposure, risk for the insurance company, because they don't like risk. They like making money. They don't like getting challenged.
Help@inyourcorner.ca is the email. Let me get to one here. I think we still have time. Jessica writes in. Sivan, she says, my sister is getting long-term disability for chronic pain, sciatica, and fibromyalgia. She's 52, and her insurer wants to pay her up to the 2-year mark, and that's it. Close her file. Her adjuster is pressuring her to agree. This sounds familiar, but I think she should call you. What happens if she doesn't agree to that adjuster's demands?
Nothing is going to happen. And by the way, if an adjuster is forcing you to accept a settlement, a long-term disability settlement, it means that the insurance company is trying to get something for nothing, in my mind. Because if she's trying to pay Jessica's sister up to the 2-year mark, we talked about the 2-year mark and getting long-term disability beyond the 2-year mark. If she's trying to pay her off to the 2-year mark and pressuring her to get that, it tells me that they just don't want to pay her beyond the 2 years. They want to cap it. Remember, if you accept a settlement from the insurance company, they're not just going to give you the money. They're going to ask you to sign a release, a formal legal document that prevents you from asking for any further payments down the road. That's very dangerous, because if you have a disability that's ongoing, you could potentially be entitled to disability benefits until the age of 65, and sometimes even longer than that. So you have to be very, very careful. So Jessica, what's the alternative? Have your sister contact me. Let me actually speak with her. And that's what we do at the office. We speak with people every day. And again, we don't charge for that. This is something that we just provide this information so people have these options. Once we give you these options, you decide. Jessica, your sister may still, after speaking with us, want to accept that money, foreclose any options of pursuing benefits down the road, and that's it, and the relationship. And that's okay, as long as she knows what her options are.
Let me ask you this, as we got a couple minutes left to go here. If you're a unionized employee and you've been denied your LTD, should they ask the union to fight on their behalf, or just skip it and call you instead?
They should skip it and call us.
Okay.
And in fact, many unions will actually tell their unionized employees that they don't have the expertise and are not even interested in challenging an insurance company's denials. Look, unions are not in the business of fighting long-term disability cases. They don't have the expertise for that. Their lawyers don't have the expertise for that. And in the vast majority of situations where we have unionized employees contacting us, what we do is we look at the collective agreement, right? And the collective agreement will either contain language that deals with long-term disability, or it won't. It will tell us. We can tell you within literally 2 minutes if we can help you. So if you're a unionized employee that's been denied or cut off long-term disability, give us a call. We will tell you within a few minutes if you can challenge the decision. You can go to your union, but chances are they will not want to deal with it. And again, my concern is that you're going to prolong the resolution process. And that's going to be time where you have no money coming in to you and your family.
Just to recap before we go here, appeal process, don't go there.
Don't go there. Don't even bother. People won't believe me. You know, we've done this the radio show for, you said 6 years. I think it's probably a bit more than that. People are still contacting me, telling me, you know, I should have listened to you. I listened to you. I didn't believe you. I've appealed 3 times. I got denied 3 times. What can you do for me? And here we go. We resolve their claim within a matter of months. I'm not lying about this. It's not just me saying it. It's lawyers like myself who have been battling insurance companies for years. We understand the process.
That's it for another week. Hope you got something out of it. We will return next week. Lots of information, I know, to digest. In the meantime, you want to reach out to Sivan, no problem. It's 1-833-IN-YOUR-CORNER. Help@inyourcorner.ca is your email. There's also mydisabilityquestions.com, which we referred to a couple times during this show, and we will continue to do so. And to find out where you can find the radio show as well, inyourcorner.ca is the website. We'll catch you next time.